especially a big country like America, that you know that immediately it catches on in America, you feel that justice will be served. And so I'm very happy. I can't explain how happy I am. I am very happy. Thank you.
And Mr. Stein? So you were, of course, Fela Kuti's manager. And so I'm wondering, you know, when I hear that, I wonder, well, what does that mean to manage, you know, a revolutionary? What does that mean exactly? And so I'm wondering, did the film kind of capture his life to you, and what was your role as his manager and in the making of the film, if at all?
That's a big question.
Of course.
Well, I mean, it was a pleasure to be with Fela. Fela was a lot of fun. I don't know if that came across in the film, but we laughed a lot. We rolled around on the floor, laughing a lot. He was full of life. And what was it like? It was a pleasure, and it was a privilege to be with this extraordinary man who had balls of steel. You know, I mean, what he tolerated in order to be able to express himself, to get across what it was he had to say, what he felt, and what he wanted to see, not just for Nigeria, but for, not just for Africa. I think his view was universal. He wanted a world where people could live freely, where they could express themselves, where they could live in a transparent, honest manner. That was the thing that I think impressed me most about Fela when I first met him, was that I use the word candor, which is a bigger word than honesty. You know, everything is so clear. I feel the same when I'm with this guy here. You know, they tell it like it is. When you look at the fact that, you know, imagine getting in a vehicle, going somewhere, knowing when you reach there you're going to get the shit beaten out of you. And that happened. And he got the shit beaten out of him too, on that journey. That takes some courage.
So as his manager, did you feel like you were managing an artist, or did you feel like you were part of a political movement?
Well, Fela and I met and became friends, and my working relationship grew out of that friendship. Which made life easier, because you can say more or less anything to your friend, can't you? Right? I'm not a political animal, but I like everything that Fela had to say about the vision that he had for the world that he wanted to live in. So I didn't have any difficulty in taking that on board. And I was with my friend. Okay. Simple matter. You call me manager. I don't know who was managing who.
So I'm going to open it up, unless you want to add anything, Femi? No? Okay. Are you okay? Would you like some water or something? Okay, all right. So we're going to open it up for questions. Any questions? If you all don't ask questions, I will ask questions, so you have to stop me.
Please repeat the question.
Coming from Africa, we still have many struggles just as youth and as musicians to go through. Do you have any advice for us on how to, many people are trying to find, obviously are bound by the conventional ways of expression in terms of mass media and so on the African continent. Do you have any advice on how to really harness the spirit that Fela had, you know, to just to break beyond, you know, the barriers of convention? Do you have any advice for specifically us coming from Africa who
What part of Africa are you from?
I'm from South Africa.
Well, I wouldn't know how to teach you how to be brave. I had to learn how to be brave, and the way I did that was a long time ago. When I was so afraid, I put fear, made it very small, and locked it up somewhere. Now I can't find where it is.
Wow.
So, of course, you still have to be afraid when you're taking the plane. You don't know if it's going to crash. There are many things that will make you afraid. You're afraid for your kids, but then you've got to do what you have got to do at the end of the day. And if you want to stand for justice, you've got to stand for justice. I choose to be in Nigeria and continue fighting and stand there with the youths. But I don't want blood. I know a revolution in Nigeria will make things messy. So you have to be very careful how you are dealing with youths that are that want a revolution. Now in Nigeria, a lot of people are talking about a revolution. So you have to be very careful as an artist. Are you ready to take the blood of children on your hands? Because you talk of blood, you're talking of like the civil war in Nigeria again. Children are going to die. Is there a more easy way to bring about peace and unity? I believe so. I think we can put pressure on corruption. So America is very important. That's why I think this movie, people, you need to tell your friends to be inspired by this. And if we keep on talking about corruption, talking about injustice, talking about all these things, and America, there's nobody that can talk better than the Americans on this planet. When Americans, you get the Americans going, everybody just seems to follow. You see? Let's go to Iraq. Everybody will go to Iraq. You see, even if they are wrong. Americans just have a way of convincing everybody, even if they are wrong. But seriously, I think it's so important for young people to see this, so they understand. It's a history of the world that we have all lost, and we were fortunate to be part of this history. And probably at that time we did not understand the magnitude of how important this history will be in the future, especially for young people. I insist on young people because the youth have the life and time to change the world. And Fela too, Fela wasn't a racist. Fela wasn't oppressive for women. There are many stories about my father that you really need to get to understand him. He was very African and he just wanted to promote Africa. And he just, colonialism, racism that he dealt with, and he was just fighting religion, he was fighting, and these were the tools he had to fight these forces that you could not see, but they were there. And so, what advice would I give you? You need to be very true to yourself. I mean, the youths today, what are they doing? Many of them don't want to play musical instruments. They see the fame, they see Hollywood, they see the fame. You know, African youths don't want to play musical instruments. So we're having, what do they do? All these young boys and girls, when they become 40s, when they're in their 40s, what are they going to do? Another generation will come with, they will be more sexy, they will have more sex appeal, and they will have their own gang, and you'll be old, you'll be going bald like me, and you have nothing to offer. So it's so important to have institutions. We need to teach ourselves how to use the computers. We need to teach ourselves how to use musical instruments, so you become relevant forever. Like the Miles Davis or Dizzy Gillespie or classical musicians. You see what happens in America is they have institutions where you go through, you learn. And if you do when you are a great musician, you are acknowledged. In Europe, the same thing. You start to learn the piano at 14. Fela started to learn the piano at 19. He was sent to a good school at 19. I started very late myself. I started at 16. But because I had this history, I could start my young eldest son at 5. Now he's playing piano like I would only dream of. We need to do all these things. We need to build Africa. And what has happened is Africa has always been left behind. Somebody comes and says, okay, I built a clinic in Kenya. A small clinic for 500 people. No, we want a hospital that Americans will come there for treatment even. We know we have the best doctors all over the world. We know we have the best engineers. We Africans excel everywhere, sports everywhere. Why collectively, why is the continent of Africa down? You can drive your car from New York to Miami. The best railway lines. When they want to build a railway line in Nigeria, they bring a railway line from the Second World War that nobody uses again. And they turn Africa to the dumping ground. Why can't I drive my car from Lagos to Johannesburg? Why can't I stop like France to Germany? Why isn't Africa rocking like it should rock? And this is what the youth should see and demand. But they can demand this in a very peaceful manner.
What is the shape
size and the location of the music, many albums did you make, and are they digital or vinyl? I want to ask, I remember a great album he did with One Side Roy Ayers. And just, so many covers, so many albums. Where is the music?
Well, it's all out there. I spent, with my partner Francis, 10 years digitally mastering Fela's catalogue, fighting the pirates, which was quite a job, but we won. And we finally released, on behalf of the family, because everything belongs to the family, 46 albums of music. In 1999, we got $1 million for the family, with which they built the New Africa Shrine, this beautiful 2,500 capacity atmospheric venue. And this year we're releasing vinyl. We're releasing the original vinyl records in the same form that they were released back in the 60s and 70s. Box sets. The latest box set will be released in October, curated by Brian Eno. In other words, we invited artists to choose the records that they felt would be an appropriate package. So the first was done by Questlove, the second by Ginger Baker, and the third now is about to be released by Brian Eno.
Is there a website?
Yeah, knittingfactory.com, Knitting Factory Records. And we're also releasing the soundtrack of the film, which is actually available at the box office downstairs if anyone's interested in a copy. And the beat goes on.
So we have room for one more question, and I see the brother right there, his hand is lifted so high, I'm going to call you.
You said the power's in the music, but the power to play the music, well, realistically, America won't play the music. We even have a hard time listening to what we used to call good hip-hop. So how do we take this music and be able to infiltrate it with the youth when the youth is caught up in what is so-called music now today?
Wow.